when I started creating content, I was the first one to create short form content on Instagram. And media called us finfluencer. Cool term back then, right? And I was the poster boy. And then what happens is once the scam started coming in, the media, they called those fraudsters also finfluencers because they use the same tactic to attract that same audience to defraud them. Now see what happens. Earlier they called me a finfluencer and they called these scamsters a finfluencer. And then SEBI comes up with a paper on finfluencers.
Everybody gets branded under
and
the same...
who turns out to be the poster boy? Right? So that ended up happening.
Sharan, you spoke about playing to your strengths. You said that it was, educating and in the financial education space where you built your brand. So it's a different and a tough space, right? You have to keep in mind that you are there's a lot of regulation at this point in time. If you go wrong, there are real repercussions in terms of the advice that you're giving in, and then you're walking, for brands. So how has that been for you from a brand deal perspective?
Yeah.
Loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is that it's tough, of course. The last 1 year has been difficult from a regulation point of view. There's been a lot of... so the problem was people who were committing crimes who were doing financial frauds. Earlier, they used to do their own ways, maybe duping people through SMS or WhatsApp messages or whatnot. But once short form content came into the picture, they looked at it as an opportunity to create content, funnel people into Telegram channels, and then sell products which are illegal or without having a license from SEBI. And what ended up happening is that when I started creating content, I was the first one to create short form content on Instagram. And media called us finfluencer. Cool term back then, right? So it was like, okay, this new breed of content creators, they don't post selfies and makeup. They actually talk about finance. They're called finfluencers. So that sort of became very cool. And I was the poster boy. Economic Times, Mint, everybody, was posting pictures. And I was like, oh, media is my friend. Wow, I like this. And then what happens is once the scam started coming in, the media, they called those fraudsters also finfluencers because they use the same tactic to attract that same audience to defraud them. Now see what happens. Earlier they called me a finfluencer and they called these scamsters a finfluencer. And then SEBI comes up with a paper on finfluencers.
Everybody gets branded under
and
the same...
who turns out to be the poster boy? Right? So that ended up happening. But that's okay. That happened about a year back. Now the number of influencers have increased actually a lot more. And it has become very easy for the audience to understand now who is legit, who is not legit. Some of us are also working on getting the licenses from SEBI. So some announcements will come out very, very soon. But now I'm seeing very recently, right? I don't know how many of you all have seen this. Bank of India sues Sharan Hegde. How many of you all have seen that article on your feed? So what is happening? These fraudsters are using my picture with Karishma Mehta. I did a podcast with Karishma Mehta on Humans of Bombay. They're using that picture. We've written a fake article saying Bank of India sues me. So that is the hook. So you open that article. You read half of the article, it sounds very believable, like, Sharan said this, and then Bank of India, sued him. And then midway in that article, it all of a sudden becomes an ad for a betting app. That article. So these are the kind of activities that's happening because of these fraudsters, and it's ruining the whole ecosystem. When it comes to brand deals, honestly, because I know the founders, I know the CMOs of almost all fintech companies, so that's not a problem. The problem is the public perception. What does the public think about the word finfluencer? And that has been really, really corrupted in the last 1 year. And now there's a gigantic effort in front of all the remaining finfluencers to clean up that due to no fault of our own.